Well, we do have a caller on the line right now. We have Ruth in Theodore. Welcome to Law Call. Danny and Bill are waiting for your question. What is it tonight, Ruth?
Hey, Ruth.
Hi. My next door neighbor refuses to mow his yard, and we're getting infested with rats in our house. And I was wondering if there's anything that can be done about it.
Rats in her house.
Yeah, so the neighbor's not upkeeping, and I don't know if
I bet it's high grass.
Yeah, but I don't know if there's a difference. She lives in Theodore, so I don't know if there's a difference between living in the county or in the city of Mobile.
There is a difference.
All right, go ahead.
She can always file a nuisance action against the next door neighbor, but how much that's going to be worth, I don't know, and it may cost you some money. One of the disadvantages of living in the county is you don't have the zoning and you don't generally have the code enforcement that you have in the city. You may want to try to call the county. There may be somebody at county engineering or somebody who could point you in the right direction, but generally if you're living in the city, you could make a complaint through the 311 system in Mobile, and they would come out, they would investigate, and they would write tickets and enforce the rules and make them clean up their place if that was the situation. But it's somewhat harder to do in the county, unfortunately.
Yeah, my mother-in-law, God rest her soul, she died a couple of years ago, but she lived off of Demetropolis here in Mobile. And anytime there was anything to do with the neighbor, you mentioned 311, she was dialing 311. and her neighbor, I guess to her credit, or to her defense, in her neighborhood, there were a lot of people that were parking old vehicles in the front yard, or a bunch of cars in the backyard, or letting their grass grow up. And you just can't do that, And sometimes, and I actually called a couple of those people for my mother-in-law. I'm like, hey, we need to kind of work this out. And they're like, it's my house, I can do whatever the heck I want to do. And no, you can't. You have certain ordinances, and if you live in a neighborhood, a lot of times you have homeowner agencies that are going to spell out exactly what you can and cannot do. But in the county, things are, a little looser. And so, like Danny said, just call the county, see what they say, and maybe there's something that can be done. So. Do we have, Danny, let me ask you this. As far as, so now that COVID kind of wrecked things a lot with the court system.
Right.
I think the court system was kind of shut down for about 18 months, but now things are kind of coming back. What are you seeing with cases going through court? I know you do criminal and civil, so are things back to normal?
And you're a judge, right?
Yeah, I do that.
So he makes the big decision.
But I control that docket. I can tell when that's going to happen. Yeah, it's starting to pick back up in terms of the pace with which everything is taking place. The cases are still behind. I've heard they're as much as a year behind or something like that. But they're trying cases down there all the time, and the judges are trying to push the cases along and make sure they keep the docket moving. So it's starting to pick back up.